Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to episode 83 of the Go Get That podcast. We are here to recap the Masters. I think all three of us, just to get into it real quick here, definitely a disappointing finish from Jordan. I know a T4 doesn't mean a whole lot to us anymore. Speaking for myself at the very minimum, it's winter bust at Augusta. Closing 66 was really, really, really fun, but I think at the end of the day, we will be looking back on this one for a while, thinking of all the mistakes that could have easily been avoided, and Jordan could have been wearing the green jacket. But I think that's a good way to open it up.
Yeah,
Gentlemen, thanks for joining me.
It's I'm glad to be here, chop it up. A lot of storylines this week, both with Spieth but also outside of Spieth. I know we'll get into Spieth takeaways here. This one's weird because it's disappointing that he didn't win. I think just generally broadly. But I don't feel like overall that this like a T4 is still a great finish, and considering that he was even par at one point on the back nine of round 3 to get it back to 7 under and into another top 5 at Augusta, I thought showed some resiliency. And obviously you can point to a lot of different mistakes, but I don't think he shoots a 66 on Sunday if he's in contention in that sense. Like if he's up there with Rahm or Koepka, it's kind of tough to kind of just assume that that's what he does. This was very classic Spieth in that he makes a lot of birdies and he gives some of them back, and that's partly why he makes a lot of birdies, is because he's got to go make up for his bogeys. He's one of the greatest recovery artists in the game's history, to be frank, and that's kind of just what he does on his scorecard. Very disappointed with some of the stuff I heard in the presser. I know that we'll probably get into that in a little bit, but overall, T4, at the end of the day, you can't be too mad, but a little disappointing not giving himself a better shot at Mr. Jacket.
Mr. Microphone's not working.
Thank you for Mr. Mute.
Thank you very much.
Great start.
Apologies. I'm with you, Dan, on the presser. And yeah.
Sunday's presser, to be specific.
That's correct. When it comes to his final round, again, there was a 2-hole stretch where he actually had a little chance, but it was a chance. And that really got my heart, going, which was nice. But it made it hurt a little more at the end. So there's that. There's a lot of things you can look back on this week as to how Jordan Spieth could have won this golf tournament. But that's golf, right? Congrats to Dan on the Jon Rahm pick this week. Jordan.
Jordan.
Congrats to Jordan on the Jon Rahm pick. Congrats to Dan on
I've continued to make
the relegation zone, as they'd say.
Congrats to Go Get That podcast for being in the green this week. All three of us.
I haven't had a losing week since Mr. Honda, so
you're on a roll.
Slowly.
Are you asking for a participation trophy, Dan? You're still at the bottom of the table.
I dug myself a deep hole, and I am
the shovel's out
on the track. If you have followed me recently, you have done pretty well.
If you followed all of us recently, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
we had a good Masters.
We had a great Masters.
We've been doing very well since since
the players. Yeah.
So that's good.
That's solid.
Yeah. I will say a chilling round from Spieth for the Go Get That point specifically for me.
Yes.
That was a much needed top 20.
Yeah.
Thank you to Mr. Woods for withdrawing after he made the weekend. That was also nice.
Thank you to Mr. Thomas and Mr. M for making that a possibility for Mr. Woods.
Yes, I would agree. I'm sure Thomas was always being forced to But I mean, there was a lot of storylines this week. You're right, Dan. And I want to get off with a point where I'm going to pat myself on the back from the preview, which is that Rory McIlroy is not one of the big three. Pathetic from him this week.
That was awful.
It was an embarrassing showing. He had all the keys to the game, and I don't. It's one thing to do. I mean, I know Jordan Spieth hasn't really been in the PGA that contention that much, but Augusta's a course that Rory plays very well, and to have that chance, that's not even something Spieth has done, is completely collapse that early and give himself no chance to win. But it was not good for him. There were no positives for Rory McIlroy this week, and I'm very disappointed to see he withdrew from the RBC. That's a little bit of a poor look, I'd say. Specifically if he doesn't give a reasoning for it. But even if he does, I'm assuming it's not an injury because I feel like that would have specified it. But it's just I mean, he's been working so hard on. He's been the face of all these elevated events, and to make a rule that you're not even going to live up to, especially unnecessarily skipping the first one, it's just a tough look. It's a really, really tough look, and I know we'll probably get into it in the RBC preview, but apologies for my voice. I'm a little under the weather. I've been under the weather a lot recently, but anyone else have any thoughts?
Rory, embarrassing this week. The best form he's came into a Masters in probably 5+ years, to just completely crap down your leg and miss. It's hard to miss the cut at the Masters. I mean, we saw it last year with Jordan.
It is very hard.
Like, it's difficult. He was +7, and I mean,
+6.
Augusta didn't play probably as hard, I think, this week as it did.
Pretty sure Mr. Couples beat him.
Mr. Couples beat him. Sam Bennett destroyed him.
Tiger Woods
beat some other funny names.
But it's
even the most important was that Mr. Mickelson beat him.
Mr. Mickelson destroyed him.
15 shots, and he didn't even have to play the third round.
Yeah, so it was embarrassing from Rory, and I think you mentioned it. I know Jordan hasn't really came close to the Slam. I don't really consider 2019 close, but I also don't think Jordan's missed the cut at a PGA.
He's played very mediocre golf.
He's played mediocre golf, but I mean, he hasn't, as you said, he's kind of been in it. But just getting back to Jordan, because that's what we love to talk about here.
Unfortunately,
I think I'm typically pretty glass half full, is looking at the positive, but this was disappointing. I think it's funny too, because like after the Valspar, after the API, Bob was on me like, why aren't you more upset? And I'm like, it's not a major. And then we get to this week, it is a major. I'm pretty pissed. I think he made the most birdies this week of anyone in the field. I think he did the exact same thing in 2021. If you were to tell me Jordan Spieth would do that twice in 3 years and not win either, like, that sucks. ass.
Thank you for the spelling.
Yeah, no worries. I'm here to help everyone out. It's just tough, man. And like, I appreciate the 66 on Sunday, but at the same time,
I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it's a backdoor T4, which looks better than a T20, but at the same time, it's kind of put up or shut up the time. I know we got 3 more majors coming up. The dumb mistakes, they gotta etch themselves out. And we talked about this, Bob, about going for 13 and 13 on Thursday. Like, I know Dan and I talked too. I wasn't really mad.
No.
That he went for it. I know a lot of people in my comments like, why did he go for it? Why did he go for it? He's hit that shot numerous times. He just didn't execute it.
And he had what, a 6-iron?
I think 6-iron. Like
that's
a shot.
That's a shot where it should be. And it was definitely sitting down, but that's a shot that he should be able to get on the green 5 out of 10 times, and his miss should be that left bunker.
Yeah.
Like, that should never ever be anywhere near the water.
Yep.
And I mean, I guess 1 out of 10 times, you're gonna catch a lie. You want to expect it, and I mean, maybe you leave it short, If you leave it short in the water, fine. But I mean, you can't let it get into that right side creek. That should have never been in play. But the decision was not my problem. There were plenty of worse decisions on this week than that.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down the list here. I mean, Dan, we were just talking about 13 and the creek. I know I talked to you about it, how we didn't really
Yeah.
hate it, but you can talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did not hate the decision. He said he picked a bad target, and that's the part that I hate the most. And that kind of goes, we talked about the interview at the beginning a little bit. I didn't really get into it, but he basically said he's been playing too much golf, picked a target on 50% of his shots. Just felt overall just kind of exhausted, made a bunch of dumb mental mistakes. Like,
Bad, man.
It's not a
look, I
one-off.
get it. Well, it might be true that you're not feeling great. You played too much golf. That's just one of those things that you just don't say, I think.
That's fair.
I mean, it's you didn't play last week. You didn't play last week.
Yeah.
And I know that 8 weeks and 8 and 10 is a lot. I can't deny that. But it's not like you're playing your fourth in a row here and it's 8 and 10. Now you had a whole week last week to try and figure some stuff out. Obviously the game's in a great spot except for one particular area. I think the fatigue definitely played a role. Like it was, excuse me, the short game on Saturday was not good enough at all. And I think that
Short
was
game all week was. It had its rough spots in all 4 rounds.
It was good and down. It was
Yeah,
up and down.
I'd say it was pretty good. I
Yeah,
just think
I'd agree.
Saturday was 3 for 8 scrambling, and that's what did him,
Yeah.
And he didn't hit good enough shots Saturday in general, but to not getting up and down on 1 on Saturday, not getting up and down on 2 on Saturday. Not Saturday was obviously the big killer in the whole thing. Not getting up and down. Where did he make bogey? I guess all his bogeys on Sundays weren't the easiest up and ins, but regardless, I don't know. It's just disappointing to hear that he was tired, and that's why he played bad. And
Yeah,
that's just. I mean, I get it, but it's a little bit like, come on.
I disagree with you a little bit. On the fact that, unlike the thing that you don't say, I appreciate the insightfulness from Mr. Spieth. However, you just can't use that as an excuse, which I'm not sure if that's what he was trying to do.
I don't think he was.
No, I don't.
But
it's not intentional.
If you're only having 50% of targets, you need to just be like, it's the Masters. Like, what am I pick a target? Like, that's not an excuse.
Is that on Greller at all? Are we gonna?
Yes. Yes. I was gonna bring that up.
Maybe.
Greller needs to. I feel like Greller's been a little bit of a spectator recently.
I feel like he's always been a spectator, though. No?
Maybe so, but I definitely believe that recently there are some times where he kind of needs to step in and be like, all right, is this really?
I think in major championships, you just can't be as loose as maybe he is.
Yeah.
That's fair.
There definitely is some. There's always some blame, I feel like, but Greller isn't the difference between him winning and losing this week. So
no, it's not. It's funny. Like we mentioned that too. Like we go to 5 when he made double. Greller was trying to talk him out of it in the first shot. I know there was a lot of what happened there. How did he make double? Spieth whiffed because he was an idiot and he tried to hit a shot that he did not need to hit. Greller wanted him to pitch out, and he probably would have made bogey instead of double. And Spieth didn't listen, and he led to double.
Yeah.
So I think Greller stepped in there. Maybe there's a couple others where Greller could have and he didn't, but it's definitely not. Greller is far from the reason why Jordan Spieth isn't wearing the green jacket.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Your point is well taken that there could be some more sort of reining in. I do wonder a little bit too if Spieth's he's talked a little bit about it, this idea of talking less. I wonder if that's had an impact because he doesn't say as much to Michael. And now Michael's thinking, all right, so we're just not gonna talk as much pre-shot. And just kind of let him do his thing. And that maybe includes Michael not saying like, all right, where are you landing this? And it's probably an over. I'm sure Spieth picked a target more than like 70% of the time. But just the fact that he felt like he didn't is, as you know, the fact that he felt like he only picked a target half the time, or a good target, I should say, is a little concerning, a little.
Yeah,
I think it's disappointing because you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to win the biggest tournament.
I think you need to look at it as like his head's just not in it to the extent that Rahm and Scheffler is right now.
Brooks even.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and to talk about Brooks for a second, like this is now the second major in a row that he's been in contention. We're sort of let slip at the end. I think that this was still a very big week for Brooks coming off.
For sure. He got a lot of confidence out of this week.
I would expect him to be in contention at a few more majors this year. Not to the extent that I feel like he should be 12-1 at the Open, but
it's a joke.
But neither should Mr. Roy be 7-1. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Brooks Koepka has better odds to win the Open than Jordan Spieth does at the moment on FanDuel.
Yes, and what's Brooks' Open history look like? I mean,
it's definitely by far. It's got to be by far the worst though of the four.
It was it's the worst of the four for him. He was there at Portrush, and then he got toasted by playing with JB Holmes, who shot an 87.
Yeah, he's played good at the Open. He's got 4 top 10s and 8 tries, but I mean, it should not be better than Spieth.
No, I mean, well, look, Koepka had a great week. Saturday and Sunday were not his best. Honestly, Saturday wasn't even that bad. 73 in those conditions, like
it's
okay. He just didn't have it the final day, and that's that happens. And if he continues to give himself more chances, the likelihood is that he will pull one off.
Sounds like someone else,
right? Yeah. And I think that's kind of getting back to Spieth, is like the disappointing part is he made enough birdies, so clearly his game is there to the 90. Well, I don't want to say it's all the way there, because I think part of the golf game is the mental ability to pick targets, hit shots. And it's just disappointing that he felt like he didn't give himself a good target 50% of the time. Yeah. And he finished T4. And it's like, dude. But yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Another thing about Spieth is like this is now the second Masters in his last 4 that he's one player removed from being in like deep contention on the last hole. Be it
referring to Hideki.
Yeah. So, and also relating to that, this is now like the 4 straight Masters where the last 3 holes have been relatively meaningless, which is a little unfortunate. It's been quite a while since we've had a Masters come down to the last few holes, which
play better.
I think the field has a lot to do with that.
Smaller field, you think?
I do. I think that, I mean, it's essentially an 80-person field because
it's less than that with the boomers.
Mr. Mize and Mr. Lyle are not real professional golfers right now.
And they're done. They're done.
Thank God. Yeah.
They inflate the scoring average.
They highly inflate the scoring average and get applauses at the end of the rounds.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But I have a thing. If you
please.
I think the mental mistakes sucked, but I think I've kind of said this a couple times. You guys already. What I was most disappointed was Saturday, not the score, but how he was carrying.
He was so lazy.
He was loose. He was lazy. He's laughing shots off. Like, dude, I get it's rainy, But what are you going to do in Liverpool in 3 months when it could very possibly be pouring down with 30-mile-per-hour? What, are you just going to laugh it off? The lack of want to try and keep together, keep a straight face, just plot yourself around. Like
No.
it was so embarrassing on so many levels, and it's exactly why he hasn't won a major since 2017. He just looks so lackadaisical out there while guys that were near the top of the leaderboard were shooting even par, one under, until the horn blew and Spieth, essentially ended his chances on those holes by smiling and just, hacking it around. I not fully concentrating, I think worrying about the conditions on his golf. And that's what really pissed me off, I think, the 4 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. You can go, Dan.
I was just gonna say I think that's a fair thing to point out. Saturday was not his best. I mean, even on the back nine, there were some opportunities. Three putted. The 3-putt at 13. Honestly, his play at 13 all week was just pathetic. The Sunday was kind of tough, but the other 3 days was just brutal. And yeah, I mean, you talked about Saturday, you talked about staying in a major championship. To that point, I do think the round on Sunday was obviously it's hard to take a bunch of negatives from a 66, but to be able to go birdie 17 like that, to see like three fist pumps, like the whole thing of
Yeah.
I'm like kind of feeling it at a major. It's Sunday. It's kind of sort of matters, I think is important. And
It should build the confidence. I'd agree.
sort of a step, sort of a neat, like I think he's broader scale, like he's just taking longer to figure out how to do it. Like the path back to the top is he took the easy route the first time, sort of. And now it's like it's a little all over the place and it's difficult and it's hard and
Yeah.
he needs to be able to find something in the little wins, so to speak, that'll eventually build to a big one. But I would just kind of round 3, round 4, some takeaways on that.
Yeah,
Fair.
I still think it's mental. I think you look at the round 3 like Jordan's talking about, and they're the Patrick Cantleys and Xander Schauffele's of the world that show no emotion, like when they're playing bad or versus when they're playing good, and that's fine. But like Jordan shows a lot of emotion when he's playing well. That needs to be reciprocated with a little bit of pissed off when he's playing bad.
There was none of that.
On Saturday, not on Saturday.
No,
It was more like okay.
He was just laughing it off in the rain, man.
I
when
mean,
the ball was going all over.
Jon Rahm.
Yeah. Well, I
Jon
think
Rahm and Spieth's situation on Saturday is ticked.
Yeah, because I think Jon Rahm has the one kind of, I don't want to call it a defense. Well, I
He's a
guess it
better
is
player.
defense, but it's like when you're that much in control of your game and you're playing that poorly, I think it's bad. I think it's a sign that like Spieth is. It's just kind of a reminder that he's like the 12th or 15th best player in the world, and it's not always gonna be perfect. And it was worse than perfect, but he's not. I don't think he's in the space where it's like I should be. I don't think he feels. I think it's a sign that he doesn't feel as confident in his game as some of his other scores might show.
Yeah, but I still feel like he was leaving. Like he should have been able to grind to a better score on Thursday, no matter how poorly he was playing. And he keeps talking about the unlucky breaks he was getting, and there were some. he got a lot of lucky breaks this week.
Oh my god.
He got a lot of lucky breaks.
He should have played 13 and 4 over for the week.
Yeah, easily. And by the way, on 18, he never should have had a swing out of the woods.
He got lucky there. Yeah.
Like he even said it in his presser. Like, I get it, dude. A few of your putts lipped out and some of your shots didn't end up in the right place. But like, if you're missing in those spots, like you can't expect to get lucky all the time. Like it's just.
No, I'd agree.
Like if you're hitting it and like another thing that Jon Rahm and Scotty Scheffler do that Spieth doesn't is how in the world do you hit it so far into the woods on 13 bounce into the fairway and not make a birdie out of that. Like, you have to capitalize on those breaks.
Yeah.
That's fair. But I mean, I think you could say that about those guys in like Tyrrell Hatton or those guys in Sepp Straka. Like I think that's what makes I almost said Shane Lowry. I think that's what makes Rahm and Scheffler way better than everybody is that they do capitalize on those.
Yeah.
But are we trying to compare Spieth to? Do we want Spieth to be comparable to
No.
Straka, or do we want him to be comparable?
No,
to Rahm and
that's
Obviously.
fine, but I think that's kind of the point is like that's not really who he is right now.
He's getting there though. He's getting there, but
He's making progress in that sense.
Yeah, you're talking about 13 about capitalizing. I don't know if I agree with you there, just because he was a little far back after it kicked in. Like he couldn't go for it. So
it's more just a general statement. Like he hasn't been able to capitalize on any of his breaks.
Right.
I'd agree. I'd agree with that.
That's fair.
Even 18 yesterday.
And
like
again,
I mean, it would have been meant anything, but this third was really bad. Like you capitalized by making par there.
I know Jordan. I have to leave in a second, but I know you were talking about how like he was like it wasn't a bad swing on 18. That is an unacceptable bogey with the way he was playing. I don't care where he hits it. Unacceptable. To steal Ryan would not consider it a stolen shot, but to steal that birdie on 17 with that putt, that fist pump,
that pin placement,
and hit that bad of a tee shot is was predictable, and it was pathetic. It was unacceptable. That needed to be I'm Jordan Spieth, sack up, drive right down the middle, give himself a chance at a birdie. Now, maybe he pars. Like you can't expect someone to birdie 18.
No.
But when he hit that drive on 18 before we knew where the ball was, that was looking like bogey at best. Before we even knew where the ball was.
Yeah, it's fair. I know Dan and I've talked about this, and I think it was a big killer this week. He doesn't have that bullet fade right now off the tee that he had in 21. And that's why that tee ball in 18 happened. That's why the double crosses on 5 happened. Every time he tried to hit a bullet fade, it just went left. I don't think 18 had anything to do with pressure, Bob, to be honest. I just don't think he's got that tee shot right now. I mean, we saw it 16 at Valspar. He tried to hit it. And what happened 16 at Valspar is what happened on 5 when he made double. It just balloons right, or it's a double. He just doesn't really. He hit a nice one on Sunday on 5, but the low fade is something that's obviously still a work in progress. And yeah, bit him there on 18 and on 5 a couple times.
I don't necessarily think it's pressure, but I still think it's an unacceptable bogey. Like he has to be able to find a way and step up there and at the very worst get in the bunker. Like that was so bad of a tee shot. Like it wasn't close to. Like if there were no trees there, he's got 280 in. I mean that was going left.
Yeah. I think the kind of broader point to that though is like when he needs a tee shot, I don't think he's got one in the bag that he trusts.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
Do you trust the draw if he stands up there and step like 18 tee?
You just can't hit a draw on 18 tee though. That's the problem. It's the same with 16 at Valspar.
If you hit it good, you could, so what's he supposed to hit then on 18?
He just doesn't
have
it
hit
right
a fade.
now. I don't think he has it right now.
Well, he did it the other days. Did he?
Different. How did he play 18? I think he played 18 and 1 over for the week, which isn't even bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would have much rather him try and hit a high draw on the left side of the tee box.
Yeah, I mean, considering how he's hit the draw, I'd probably agree with you. I was wondering that, Bob, too. I don't know why he didn't take 3-wood off 18. I know it leaves like
into the wind.
I know it leaves like 200, and I think Saturday the freaking iron he hit into 18, like 230 adjusted to 15 feet, like that was insane.
Well, yeah, but that was from the fairway, and my guess is that was a draw off the tee.
Yeah, well, I assume on 18 tee he was thinking he needed birdie, so he hit driver, and it just didn't go well.
Right, but I think he hit driver all week on 18.
Yeah.
So,
if you're talking to that towards a pressure thing, it's possible. But
no, I don't think it's pressure. I think he doesn't have a shot that when there is pressure, he feels like he can hit.
Interesting.
But even if because like the problem with the high draw and the reason everybody plays a fade is because all you have to do is rip your lower half through it and hold the face, basically. I mean, I'm exaggerating that quite a bit probably. But people say you can turn really hard and it's gonna cut in theory.
Gotcha.
The problem with the draw is if you try and you've got the energy going, you've got the juices going because you're in contention. You've made 9 birdies through 17 holes at Augusta National. You're got the roars. Phil Mickelson's playing with you. You try and hit a draw, you get a little late, little behind, turn that face over. Like there's just more things that can go wrong. You block it into the trees, right? You snap hook it into the trees left, whereas the fade is like it's just a more trusty shot in terms of what the
That's what
adrenaline
he
does
calls
to your
it.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to not have that as a concern at the moment. I mean, obviously, look, he lost by what, 5 anyway, but
Well, he was never winning. But.
just to not, because it cost him at Valor. I think personally, I think it cost him at the API, not being able to hit a fairway 15, 16.
Yeah.
And
No, you can't really avoid that.
It'd be nice to get that back in the bag for Oak Hill in a month or so.
Yeah, Dan, I don't know if you've seen the video, but Scotty has this like 280-yard fade, like low fade that he has, like where he just tees the ball up super low and he calls it like the
Spieth has
fairway
had
finder.
that.
Like Spieth doesn't have that right now though.
No,
yeah.
agree.
Well, I think he did have that.
Yeah.
And I think
he's got to find that soon.
He's got to figure out where to have that again. Because that's what he tried to play on 18. That's what he tried to play on 16 at Valspar. My guess is that's what he tried to play at the API as well down the stretch.
We tried at 5 Thursday.
He tried at 5 Thursday. I mean, he hit a good one on Sunday. He hit 2 good ones. 5 and 9 were both pretty fades.
So they're there. They're just not consistency.
It's there, but it was weird because he said like what things he's working on to add more tools to his toolbox. He kind of had to like remove that tool, or it just like doesn't fit in the box, which is just going along with the analogy. But I think just where he gets his positions, it's a tough shot for him. And I think that's concerning in the sense of like his ability to win tournaments along with sort of the mental stuff, but or I don't want to say mental stuff. I want to say mental decision making, because I don't think it's like, I think he trusts for the most part his golf swing, and there's definitely scar tissue, but I think it's just some poor decision making, and we're lacking that bullet fade off the tee when he really needs it.
Yeah, and just go ahead.
One thing before I leave is, regardless of how I'm disappointed this week, it was that fist pump on 17.
Oh, chills.
And 16.
16 was nice too.
16 was nice.
It was a little disappointing not to have
like
tested API.
But 16, I wasn't expecting a birdie on 17. So like, that birdie on 17 was a stolen shot. Let's be very clear.
No, but you speak to the pressure too, because there was definitely pressure. That's not an easy tee to that pin to 11 feet. Like, get on 18, but give him credit for 17.
No, I 100% agree. That fist pump is something that I would like to see a lot more in the future, because that was at Augusta National with the sun down. I mean, if you could have been told the start of the week that you'd have a fist pump on 16 and 17 on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it would have felt good.
Multiple fist pumps on 17. There were like 3 on 17.
Yeah.
8 at fist pump. Got it out of the hole, fist bump. Another small one, and then a fist bump with Mike.
Yeah, he had a bunch. But let me also just say, before I leave, is very disappointed that he wasted what could have been an unbelievably amazing winning outfit with that navy blue sweater. That navy blue sweater was with the collar, like a different shade of navy. So it was nice, but I'm gonna have to leave. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be here for the RBC Heritage. I gotta
RBC best tournament in the world.
I'm sure you guys don't have too much left to recap, but
no, leave a feel better in the comments for Bob, so you could use it.
Feel better.
We will see.
And yes,
we'll take it, Bob. Yeah, we'll carry it out.
Hold down the fort.
We'll try our best. We'll try our best.
The fort will be held down.
Good to hear. Peace, fellas.
See ya.
But
yeah. I didn't.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking about that charge on Sunday a little bit. I mean, there's just so many errors to look at, so many close calls, so many kind of mistakes. I think, for the week broad scheme, I know we've been kind of touching on this a little bit. Part of the reasons we saw fist pumps on 16 and 17, he made some putts.
Yeah, I
He
mean, the
made some
recession
putts.
is. Can we get an update on
Sunday
the
at a major,
recession?
all week at a major, Jordan Spieth made some putts. And I tell you what, that felt good to see some go in. Sunday made that one on 10, made the one on 8. The putt on 16, I mean, the bunker shot was, it's like, dude, if you're going to try and hole it, hit a better shot than that. But if you're going to play it past the pin, hit it far, like pick a shot. But then to hole it like that was fantastic. Putt on 17 was pretty stones as well. Honestly, I thought the roll on 18 looked pretty good for a while, just didn't go in. But much better speed control for the most part, obviously, despite the pathetic one on 13. Was pretty good inside of 5 or 6 feet. I don't remember any brutal 3-footers missed.
No, I was
And he gained for the week. It might have, I mean, I don't have the stuff in front of me, but it might have been his best area. Is that true? Do you know?
The putter was, yeah. He was actually,
So-
I mean, he didn't win obviously, but he was the only player in the field to gain over half a shot in every single category,
Yeah. So
which is
clearly
consistently good.
the game was pretty good across the board. And it was nice to see the I think we can't undeclare the recession at the
No,
moment.
not yet.
I'd like to see it keep going. But it really was nice to like look at his stat profile and be like, all right, he wasn't, because I thought the iron play was pretty good.
I agree.
Thought the wedges were pretty solid. Short game was up, and I mean Saturday was just not a very good day all through and through.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you how much like putting is so much more than just the strokes gain number. It's also like the strokes gain momentum, the strokes gain like big save, the strokes gain adrenaline, all that stuff really comes down to putting. And it was great to see putts go in, and I think that's important going forward. It'll be a big deal these next couple weeks. Obviously, he'll get some time off here in a little bit, but I liked what I saw. I liked getting in contention on Sunday a little bit, at least to feel it before Oak Hill, because he's definitely trending towards something very good, and I think Oak Hill is in kind of the path, and we shall see. I'll see. Hopefully, he just doesn't play 81 holes at Oak Hill and
Oh boy. Oh boy.
finish like solo 3 at the match play event before it. But anyway,
That's cruel right there.
yeah. Well, Mr. Roy overdid it completely.
Yeah,
You
it
can
was
okay.
embarrassing.
I mean, I know we talked a little bit about Rory, but you cannot have 19 putts around Augusta National, change putters, change equipment, do all this other stuff because you're about to win the career Grand Slam because you can feel it in your bones. You played well at the match play, and then show up and miss the cut at +5, +6. Are you kidding me right now? Come on.
I kind of knew he'd putt poorly too, because like the greens that he was putting on like a week and a half prior, like they're obviously not gonna be nearly at the same speed
Yeah.
that they will be for the dang Masters.
Right. And
I think if anything, it's just bad prep because you're getting adjusted to green speeds that are gonna be completely different from what you're gonna face.
100%. I think he needs to go in to that tournament with the mindset. I think this applies to Spieth too. Like, and for Spieth, it's a little bit easier because it's a different course. So it's easier to kind of manage expectations in a sense. And which I don't want to look too far ahead, but there's like a flyover at Oak Hill. Dude, that place looks sick. So sick. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of Wingfoot, which is not ideal.
You don't say.
But it looked I mean, obviously it looked pure, but it just looked pretty majestic. Like, anyway, we'll get to that in 38 days or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
But
it is 38. Thank you for knowing the exact number.
just the mindset of putting too much pressure on winning. I think
Not the way
Rory
do
needs
it.
to have kind of the mindset of like, man, let's just these first 2 days, let's just go get to like 6 or 7 under, or
Yeah.
like let's get me in there, and then once I start feeling it Saturday, Sunday, because ever since he's had the chance to have the slam, he's always been backdooring it. Like he's never given himself a legitimate. Not that Spieth has either, but it's like it's a little bit different when one of them couldn't find the face of the planet, center of the club for 3 years, and the other's a top 3 player in the world right now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was my
No,
Rory
that's well said.
spiel right there.
It's hilarious that you mentioned course comps for Oak Hill because I'm already getting bombarded in DMs like, do you think his game's gonna fit Oak Hill? Do you think he's gonna fit Oak Hill? And I'm like, I don't really know yet. And it's funny you mentioned Wingfoot for the new Spieth fans because I'm sure he's picked some up ever since the resurgence started in 21. He finished 14 over at Wingfoot and missed the cut in
Yeah, he was
2020.
awful.
So the good news is he's a way better golfer now. But yeah, if it plays like Wingfoot, it could be a tough week. We'll have to
And
see.
I don't think it'll play like winged foot.
No, I
I
don't think
just
it will.
thought
I think the
it looked
PGA of America
very
sets it up
New
differently.
Yorky in that sense.
Oh,
Like
Parkland
it
style.
reminded me of Bethpage a little bit too, which I guess makes sense because they're
That'd be
all
good.
in the same state. Yeah, Bethpage. I mean, he made everything at Bethpage.
Yeah.
And I think that style might fit. I think like because he's been really good from 150 to 200.
Yeah.
Really good with the irons. I think if he can find a bullet fade and keep making some putts,
I like our chances, Dan.
it could be. I think it could be pretty good. And he continues, T4. I know he kind of bounced back to the speed here, but T4, he played. This was his best total playing of the year per data golf strokes gained. Like
Since the 2021 Open. Yeah.
right. So
Pretty good.
he had a pretty good week. This is now, top 4 top 6s recently. And typically when he plays well for a while. It's not like he's, and that goes the
Just
same thing
don't
for when he's not
change
playing
the
well. But
damn
it's
swing.
yeah, it's just like it's working. He's finding this working on the same thing. So certainly a bit of a
tweaks, not
disappointment,
changes at this
but
point.
right. Yes, precisely. Any other speed thoughts before?
Yes.
Because I do want to talk a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned the putter. He didn't just make putts, he made clutch putts. He went a full year in 2022 with, I'd assume, I do not have the official count on this, but 0 fist pumps in majors. And we got fist pumps. You can see, you might know. Did he have a fist pump?
Well, there was definitely none at the Masters.
I feel like there might have been one when I was at Brookline. He made a putt, I think,
have.
on the 14th hole on like Saturday to give him a chance.
Yeah, there might have been one at Brookline. I was thinking there might have been one like maybe early in the Open.
Yeah,
I
but
think he made one on 2 on Thursday in the Open, which was a ridiculous putt to make actually because it went like up over a hill and then came back down. I was just right in the middle. I think there was a little like got it out of the hole a little bit like, all right, good start. But sorry. I was just
yeah,
my
no,
memory
but
got rolling on fist pumps. There's nothing quite like a Jordan Spieth fist pump, let me tell you.
there's not. I mean, it's so fun, and like he was making. It was nice too because he putted great in round 1. He didn't putt great in round 2, and I think like I mentally when I see the losing strokes to the field putting and around, I'm like, oh crap, are we gonna go back to the? And he answers. He'll come out. I don't think round 3 was great, obviously. Nothing was great in round 3, so I'm not just going to throw the putter under the bus. But to come out on Sunday to make putts, I mean, I don't really want to say he had any chance on Sunday. I mean, he would have needed a collapse. He would have needed a lot of help RBC style, but it's nice to see the putter rebound after a bad day. Like, we've seen the ball strike, and we could have one bad day turn into a lot of bad days real quick. Go back to last year that happened. But it's just nice to see the putter rebound after a awful 2022. He'll have a bad round in 2023, but he'll answer and putt well the next day and pick the pace back up.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I think it kind of speaks to the fact that he's rising up those data golf rankings, which means he's going to be rising up world golf rankings. Like He's 15th right now, and I know it doesn't feel like it's changed a whole lot, but um he's got good finishes kind of coming off, and he's done a good job of somewhat replacing them. And then he's just really bunched. Like he could get to 5. I know this is looking ahead. I don't think he can actually anymore because of the withdrawals,
Rory.
but he could get up to like 6 or 7 depending on how much. So it's really tight. A 50, an extra point on his OWGR would get him, I think, to like 9th, which would be like a 50-point boost. So it's he's not that far off from cracking the top 10. He really isn't. And you would hope that a win is coming. I know that some rest is coming, which he says he needs, which is good. And then 2 majors, obviously Craig Ranch and PGA are big time. So good stretch coming up, playing
Yeah.
pretty well. But do you have any more speed?
Yeah, you
I'm all here
mentioned
for
the
the speed thoughts.
no, I mean the Masters, man, it's I put out an Instagram post. I cherish it so much. I mean, the week comes and goes and you look at the Masters social feeds and there's no post for 6 months. It hurts when the Masters is over. I cherish it. But yeah, we'll get into the RBC obviously tomorrow and talk about that. But that's probably it until I think Craig Ranch.
Yeah.
Just the Sunday, I played too much coming into this. That sounded a lot like a guy that probably is not going to be at the Wells Fargo. That would be 5 in a row if he does play Wells Fargo. So I don't
Yeah.
foresee that happening. So yeah, we got probably the RBC and then 3 weeks of rest, then another big stretch. You got what? Byron Nelson, PGA, Schwab, Memorial week off, U.S. Open Travelers. So that'll be 6 out of 7 after 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
So
And then I think there's only a week in between. Actually, no, that's not true. Is it Rocket, John Deere, and then Scottish?
yes.
Okay, so that's better because otherwise it used to be John Deere and then straight to Europe. So that would have been again 8 and 10, which ending with the major or whatever. So
No,
that's
thanks.
glad that there's a 2-week stretch in there where he won't be playing. But yeah. Any
I think that's it for Spieth. I know you've been like teasing something else here. I want to hear it.
Well, no, I felt like there's just a lot of other stuff that went on that was cool.
Yeah.
I honestly I don't really care for Sam Bennett all that much. Like you guys can enjoy him if you want to. I don't think his play Thursday, Friday was awesome, and then he hung on Saturday, Sunday, but the dude's 23. And I know it's different playing as an amateur, and I know Jordan Spieth is special, but Spieth won at 21. So it's not like Sam Bennett is some like amazing wonder kid of golf. He's a very, very talented golfer. And then he thought Augusta was playing easy and he got burned. So you don't talk to a national like that, Mr. Bennett. He might have some more trips down there though. I liked his composure Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday to hang in. I mean, what an experience for him, but I'm not that interested in being overly enamored by what he did this week. It was cool to see Scheffler miss some putts finally, or just like not play that well. Because that dude's, I mean, he finished like so good, tee to green. It's like it was Rahm and then, well,
He
maybe
had
Brooks there,
he had
but
the 2021 Spieth. I
yeah,
struck it beautifully and didn't make a single thing. Yeah.
right. And the thing about Scheffler is it's not that he's like not making anything per se. It's just that he's also like blowing them from 4 feet, and that's really what kills your strokes gain numbers.
Spiethy.
And then when you're saying, and then of course not making any long putts obviously doesn't kind of balance him out. But I mean, he's pulled a bunch of 4-footers recently because he's on feature group coverage all the time. So that's an issue for him for sure. I'm sure he'll clean it up at some point, but he's still hitting it great. And then Koepka, man, I know you guys touched on him a little bit, but I kind of not a soft spot for Brooks, but I really like watching Brooks play in majors. I think partly because there's just such a great contrast to Spieth in some sense.
Um,
It's like you just feel like it's so automatic. It's
he's
just
gonna hit
so
it here, he's gonna hit it there, and he's gonna make par on the toughest hole on the golf course. That's
right.
how
He's
he
gonna
plays
make
it.
par, and if he does make a bogey, it's like he just got not screwed, but oh, he left his approach in kind of a tough spot, pitch skidded on him, and then didn't make the putt. But then he bounces back and he doesn't blow up very
It's not
quickly.
doubles.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's fun, and it was just good to see him back in the mix, man. It was good to see Koepkaing again, being that dude. That because I like to think of him as the greatest major champion in the post Tiger era. And I know he's still tied with Rory. And to be fair, I wasn't really as appreciative or aware of Rory's kind of dominance in the early 2010s. Obviously, he was fantastic and he blew people out in majors, but there's just something so like, man, Koepka might never lose, and that's
Yeah.
starting to break a little bit, but he didn't even like blow up that bad this weekend. I felt like he just didn't have his stuff, and that kind of happens,
Yeah, he didn't even, as you said, like the Saturday round, um, wasn't that bad at all. I think he gained strokes on the field Saturday, shooting 73. Then Sunday was obviously not great. But yeah, as you kind of said, there's an aura, and the stats coming up. Well, I mean, as a 54 hole leader, he had never lost in a major as the 54 hole leader. He was 3 for 3. He's now 3 for 4. What a shame.
Yeah.
Can certainly tell you that Spieth and Rory are probably not batting that percentage as
Right.
54 hole leader at a major. There's an aura to Brooks that you've kind of alluded to. Like you expect this dude to be a killer. And unfortunately for Mr. Spieth in the next 3 majors, he's now probably gonna have to deal with a Brooks Koepka that's got a chip on his shoulder and some more confidence, which I think is good for the game of golf. Yeah. Despite what your
100%.
thoughts are on Live, it's cool to see dude. I mean, that's why Tiger was loved so much because he just dominated the majors, and Brooks is kind of the same way.
Yeah, and I think adding to that, Brooks, he just needed to feel it a little bit again. Like this was Brooks's like first 54 hole lead in a while, relative for his kind of career. And you can't just hop back on the mountain. I guess bike's not maybe the greatest thing, but you can't just jump back on the double black diamond ski slopes after 3 years off and feel like you're gonna get down them effortlessly. He kind of crashed and tumbled down the stretch, but he'll get back up, and I think he'll be there. I mean, the next 2 in theory set up really well for him. I know everybody's going to be on him at Oak Hill because I think, from what I've said, it just looks like Bethpage and Winged Foot, which if he was healthy at Winged
Shinnecock,
Foot
New York.
and Shinnecock, yeah, of course. Okay, so it's just Koepka at the PGA. We'll go till next year. No, but and just healthy Brooks too, I think is important and fun to see. And then Rahm. I mean, he was so impressive this week. I know he started with the double bogey at 1 because he 4-putted, but then just to bounce back, I don't feel like he ever really lost his cool, his temper. It seemed like even when Brooks had the 4-shot lead or the 2-shot lead, it kind of felt like Rahm maybe knew he was going to fade or knew that Rahm himself wasn't going to fade. I never felt, he gets the Bowie nickname, right? But I never felt that Rahm was ever going to go underwater. And I think he knew that too. Like, I think he was just going to ride the wave. Oh, Koepka's coming back to me, ride the wave, and here I go. And then Sunday he played he shot 3 under, gaining 4 shots on the field and made 4 birdies to 1 bogey. Is that right?
I have it loading right. I was actually gonna
I
look.
think that's what it is. But and finished with that unreal Seve-esque par on 18. But just to see him grow up and see him develop into kind of a kid with a little bit of a the hot streak, which was somewhat entertaining, but to kind
He
of
still got
channel
it.
that towards playing amazing golf. He's won 6 times in the past like 5 months or something stupid like that. And I think it's like 6 in his last 11. Maybe that might not be true. 6 in his last 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that. But so he's just on a different planet right now, and he's figured out how to win, and he continues to do it. And I mean, Scheffler was in the same spot last year and didn't win the rest of the year. But man, if anybody's gonna get kind of past, and I know Rahm has done it strokes gained wise, but if anybody's gonna top Spieth from 15, like Rahm's off to an excellent start.
I think Rahm's
Um,
already peaked at a higher number than Spieth was in 15.
yeah, in terms of data, I mean, in terms of like data golf, which is totally valid, but just in terms of like if you looked at it on a piece of paper, right?
Gotcha.
Spieth had 5 wins, 2 majors. Rahm has which is crazy, 4 wins in the Masters already, plus an elevated event at the Genesis. So
Not
he's
bad.
on a tear. And I just kind of felt like it was always, I mean, it was weird because Koepka's got that aura where it's like, well, Brooks isn't going to lose, but I didn't feel like Rahm was going to fade either. You know, it
No, I
seemed like
agree.
we were going to be in line for a heavyweight showdown of two guys making a bunch of pars, and Brooks just kind of cracked, and Rahm slipped through, made a couple birds, and he was so awesome. Deserved too. I think this might have been his peak. Because I cannot
So,
imagine Rahm plays well at Hilton Head, given how
no.
different that people say those courses are. But I just, man, I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the year, to be honest with you. Same with
Yeah,
Brooks. Really
I
am.
I mean, Rahm won the big one, and he won Augusta National the way you win Augusta National. He played the par fives and 10 under this week. That's how you play Augusta, man. You take care of the par fives and hang on the threes and fours, and he played the threes and fours and 2 under, and I mean that's how you win this tournament. Um, I'm looking here. Spieth played the par fives and what 3, 6, 4, 7 under. So that's 3 strokes right there. And he lost by 5. Make a couple more up on 5 being bogey instead of double. I mean, we can do this on so many holes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and he
props to
played he
Jon
played
Rahm.
13 and 2 over.
Yeah, I mean,
So if he plays that reasonably well, there's your 5 shots right there.
yeah, exactly. So just Rahm plotted himself better than Jordan did. Last thing on Jordan, just because it came to mind, the speed he made putts, but the speed I thought was really good for the most part this week. I think two three
Yeah.
putts, two. I want to say 6
Yeah,
and
three putted
13.
13 and then three putted
6.
6 on.
Tried.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yep. Yeah, because he got it to that lower ledge, and that
Yeah,
was that
which
was that was
is
always tough,
yeah.
but a little disappointing.
He blew it by a little more than some other guys did, especially because I got 2 teaches, but he cleaned up
Yeah.
beautifully inside 5 feet. And to do that at Augusta National, hopefully will boost the confidence because I mean that's been the bugaboo for 15, 16 months now. I mean it's all career, but 15,
Yeah.
16 months especially. I don't think he missed a short putt all week around Augusta National. It's just really, really impressive.
Phil, thoughts?
Phil
It
Alfred
was fun.
Mickelson. It
It
was
was
fun.
fun, man. What a featured group that was. I kind of joked in the chat like, oh, Phil and Spieth matching 65s to get to a playoff. I'm like, well, it almost happened. And Phil shot the 65. Obviously, the playoff was out of the picture, but he played well. He got the 7 under on Saturday, I think.
The 52
Maybe
year
6
old.
under. I mean, that dude just like pulls it out of a hat. He played awesome golf.
Yep.
He didn't, he was a lot more patient than Spieth on Sunday, I felt like, and it kind of let it come to him a little bit more. So he didn't have as many amazing looks until 15, 17, 18. But man, whatever you think about Phil, you're entitled to feel and think, and I don't have a great opinion on Phil and kind of the way he's handled some things, but it's just fun to watch him play golf when he's playing it well. To hear on 17 too, like the be right, and to have it go to like 2 inches. 18, same thing, like sit there, and then the fist pump kind of putter raise the putt and just take the clubhouse lead, which killed me because that should have been Spieth's, but it was cool. It was fun. It turned back the clock quite a bit this weekend, and then kind of had one of the new guys kind of rise up and grab major number 2, and it really, I mean, just what a week from A National. I enjoyed it so much. I really did. Broad picture, of course.
It typically delivers, yeah. No,
outside of the whole Spieth fiasco on certain parts, but
it's always a fiasco at Augusta for Jake Spieth.
I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah, Phil's
really,
just,
really
I mean,
was.
again, like you're entitled to whatever opinion you have, but for this old man at 52 years old to shoot the round of the week at Augusta National, it's just, I mean, like the dude, he pulls it out of a hat. I mean, he's got no form coming in at the PGA, no form coming in here, and he does it. Like it, I mean, I think Father Time will catch up eventually, but I mean, at 52 to still be able to do it, it's just unreal.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I think he could look totally different come Oak Hill. Like, I think that's kind of being that old, it's just hard to maintain. But he's just magical, you know? And I think that's kind of the part about Augusta that's so cool, is just the magic, the history that it has, and it keeps the same guys playing well. So I think it creates awesome storylines. And I mean, I don't know, you probably read it or saw it, but like Kyle Porter on Twitter put out his like final Masters thread, and the Spieth tweet was awesome, by the way. So I think I retweeted it, but if you check it out, like it was just the palindrome, the whole thing, like Spieth forever. It's like, heck yeah, that's just like that's it,
us, baby.
But there's also just this like end of the thing where it's basically he talked about how awesome being at Augusta is because you get to kind of catch up with everybody and especially in like golf media or whatever, and kind of see like what's changed in a year. And I don't know, that just made me think a little bit about what the last year has been. And this is a kind of a different note than golf, but it really, Augusta and the Masters is really like spring is coming, and it's a time to it's a good marker, I think, in the year. And I think going forward it'll be a marker of like reflection for myself. And I know that's very different than what we normally talk about on here, but I don't know. I just think it's a good spot to think about how the past year has gone, what's changed, what emotions have changed, and just kind of as spring kicks into summer, because while it is the start of stuff, that also means that it's the end of stuff in a sense. I thought that was a cool point that he made, and I just thought I wanted to share that. And that's just kind of what A National does, doesn't it?
No, I mean, he calls it spiritual.
Yeah.
I think even as a patron at home, it's a week that I cherish. It's so different from what we're used to with the regular PGA Tour events every week, and the way like their social media pages, it makes you feel like you're there. Obviously not there because it's multi-$1,000s, and I'm never winning that lottery, but it's just the music, everything that goes along with Masters Week. It's very special.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me want to go like really, really bad. But to your point, it is very, you do kind of feel like you're there.
Yeah.
Like everybody's excited about it, from Billy Kratzer to Trevor Emmelman and all the commentators, and Dottie Pepper, and trying to think of from the Riddler and anybody else in between.
Did you see Brian
Economy
Roberts?
people. Yes.
Brian Roberts in the green jacket.
Roberts. But yeah, awesome week. Awesome week. Any early predictions on Rahm's Champions Dinner?
Some traditional Spanish food.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I have no idea either, but I just think it's probably gonna be one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's
Like
gonna
I
be
think people
tasty.
will really, really, really enjoy it.
I think the Americans like when the internationals or Europeans win. I think those are
True.
good dinners.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, Hideki's was
Yeah.
something else. So, trying to think of any other final Masters thoughts, but I think this might be. At least I don't have any. I've emptied my tank.
Yeah,
It's
I
a little
think
sad that it's over.
yeah,
Um,
I'm always very sad. I think I was really sad when Rahm was walking to scoring to turn the scorecard and Jordan's just standing there to shake his hand like a classy individual. I'm ready for the drought to end, Dan. Like I said it in chat, one of our group chats yesterday. Like I'm so ready to win a major again. It pains me when he makes the stupid mistakes like we did this week. I was saying in my story, I was really, really pissed. I just want to experience it again, and his game is good enough to do it.
yeah.
Besides the bullet fade, but he has 38 days to get a bullet fade and just make some putts like he did this week, and I think we're gonna have a great chance to make some history. But
Yeah,
if I want a major bad, I think that's my closing thought.
I do too.
Really
I
bad.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's been a while, and I know for some people, three is an eternity, or not an eternity. Three is a career. It's a Hall of Fame career. Um, but I do want to selfishly, I want to experience that again to really feel what it's like for Jordan Spieth to be holding one of the major championships. Um, and who knows? I thought it was interesting he didn't have the jacket on either.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
like all
part
Thabo
of
that is on.
part of me wants to think that it's him saying like I've got to go get it again so I can
Huh.
put it on in that sense. But I don't know if that's true. Maybe he just didn't want to
I
deal
think you
with
might
that.
be
But
right
he
there.
normally does it though. I feel like anytime he's there, he wants to put it on. I think this one, I think he mentioned how tired he was. And I think that's part of him just saying, now we're just getting back into the interview. And I know we said we'd end it, but he's just so fast. There's so many things to talk about with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he kind of I don't know if he knows he let it slip away in that sense because there were just so many mistakes and he was kind of out of it on Saturday. And the T4 is way better than he probably should have finished given where he was Saturday. But I think he just feels like it's there and he wants one bad because he knows it's inside. He's capable. He knows he's capable. And it's
Yeah.
just not coming to fruition yet. But we'll keep riding, we'll keep dying, we'll keep living. The whole experience part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, can't wait for that day. But it's coming. It has to.
I hope. I think Rory fans have been saying the same thing because he's played so much better. But yeah,
That
I find it interesting that you mentioned that he wasn't in the jacket. I think you might be right. I have a feeling he thought maybe he didn't deserve to go wear it because he had plenty of time between when he finished. I mean, he had what?
Yeah, he had a
He
couple
was the
hours.
third group off of one.
I think Rom mentioned he saw Spill and Feeth. He saw Phil and Spieth post when they were on around 10 or
Yeah,
11. So he had plenty of time to go change. And, class for staying there and giving
he
Rom
wasn't standing there outside the whole time. I
the
bet you he went
handshake.
up to. I have a feeling I think you're right, and it
But
sucks to get like emotional there, but I think you're right. I don't think he deserved to go wear
I think, yeah, I think that's what he thought. And I think he is trying to drive himself to get back there. And it wouldn't shock me if it was next year, but that's so far away. Oh my God, Masters
it.
is
Yeah,
over.
I
I don't
mean,
know what to
yeah.
do now.
Screw next year right
Oh,
now. We got 3 opportunities within the next 3 months too.
I know. Well,
To do it.
technically four, because Craig Ranch would be a massive win.
Oh
Honestly,
man,
that might even be better than I'm so excited for Craig Ranch week, but
I know it's just a massive field, massive venue.
massive field. I mean, you'll probably get. I mean, Spieth might be the best guy there. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Oh, he will be.
I mean, who? Scheffler? No, Scheffler will be there. Has to. Scotty Scheffler must go to Craig Ranch. Obviously, the two-time defending major champ KH Lee will be there. I don't know why we're talking about Craig Ranch. I think you just got to cut me off here.
That's
Too many
fair.
thoughts.
We'll cut it
flowing, too
here.
many
I mean,
thoughts
we'll
flowing.
we'll be back tomorrow to discuss the RBC and Jordan's defense.
Yes, we will. I
Of,
know that's another fun thing. I kind of not forgot about that, but
it
it's a
does
cool
take a
deal.
backseat to the Masters.
Yeah.
But Jordan will be firing the cannon as this will be our RBC preview will be posted. The videos and the memes of him firing the cannon to open the Heritage Week will be something. But
that's gonna be fantastic.
yeah,
I can't wait for that actually. Just to see the images. Like he's got so many good
meme
memes and
photos.
photos. Yeah, he's just so memeable in a sense. It's like, and I think part of that's because he doesn't know that he's memeable. I think that's what makes it better. Anyway, until tomorrow, we hope you enjoyed Masters Week as much as we did.
For sure.
Peace.
Have a good night. Take care.